The Righteous Need Not Fear, written and read by Brother Jerry Valenti. There are various accounts in the scriptures of times when there was some type of destruction, typically caused by disobedience and or iniquity among the people. Two such events were the Great Flood at the time of Noah and the destruction of the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah at the time of Lot. In both cases, there were so few people who were righteous that God just saved those few and destroyed everyone else. At the time of Noah, the wickedness was such that God was actually sorry he had created man, so he flooded the entire earth. Only Noah and his family were spared as they followed the direction of God to build an ark and board it prior to the flood. In Sodom and Gomorrah, not even 10 righteous people could be found, so God rained down fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed the cities. Only Lot and his family were spared as they followed the warning of God to depart prior to the destruction. And what about all the people who were destroyed in the above two events? Did they have any inkling as to what was about to happen? No, they were just living their normal lives in total ignorance of what was coming. As Jesus describes, in the days of Noah, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. Luke 17:26 and 27. In the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, they builded. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them all. Luke 17:28 and 29. Is Jesus saying that eating, drinking, getting married, and working are bad things to do? Of course not. But he is pointing out how a major destruction can occur with no warning whatsoever. In both of the above events, all the people, except Noah and Lot and their families, were living normal lives right until the very day that destruction came. In both cases, the sense of normalcy one day was not an indicator that the next day would be just as normal. What does this mean to us today as we anticipate an eventual destruction prior to the arrival of Zion? Should we be living in fear of a destruction that could come with no advance notice? Well, people who don't know the Lord should fear, but they won't because they have no idea what's coming, just like the people at the time of Noah and Lot. But since you know what's coming, you might be tempted to be fearful. However, you actually have nothing to fear, as long as you're a follower of Christ and living a righteous life. Whenever destruction arrives, God will preserve the righteous by his power, even if it so be that the fullness of his wrath must come and the righteous be preserved, even unto the destruction of their enemies by fire. Wherefore, the righteous need not fear, for thus saith the prophet, they shall be saved, even if it so be as by fire. 1 Nephi 22:17. Regardless of what happens, we should have confidence that we are in the hands of God. Even if we were to lose our lives in some type of disaster, we know that we'll wind up in the paradise of God, so we still need not fear. But according to the above, for this particular event, the righteous will be preserved, so the righteous need not fear. In the meantime, how should we be living our lives? Should we be putting aside plans for marriages or careers? No, there's no reason to put our lives on hold. Although it appears that certain events may be imminent, God's time is not our time, so it's possible that we may live our entire lives without experiencing destruction. Also, we don't know what life will be like after a destruction. There may well be a need for some of the things that we're doing now. So, on the one hand, don't be afraid to live the life that God has blessed you with. But on the other hand, be aware that things can change at a moment's notice. It's possible that the Lord may direct you to change course in your life, so make sure you are right with Christ and can discern the Lord's voice in your life. He will lead you in the right direction. As stated in a recent revelation to the church, how can my people take that next step unless they hear my voice, unless they know my voice, unless they obey my principles? So be not afraid or dismayed, but be of good courage and step forward now and trust that I will lead you. In the time of Noah and Lot, the small number of righteous people followed God's direction and he preserved them. Make sure that you're among the righteous people today and that you're ready to follow God's direction. If you do, you have nothing to fear because the righteous need not fear.